So I grew up believing that I had a superpower, like a real superpower, like a superhero, sans cape. Something I felt in my soul. And I could feel everything. I felt the air. I felt clothes. I felt my hair. I felt my skin. I felt everything. So of course, nobody's senses are that great. I'm a superhero. Maybe. And with my superpower, I could feel things, like I said. So I remember one time, school age, 6, 7, somewhere in there, in the school park, and these kids, as kids are, especially like in the 80s, they could be really mean. We don't bully people anymore. But we did then, and they said something, I don't even remember, but I remember that it hurt. And I remember that those were not people that I wanted to play with. And they were not superheroes, for sure. So I just stood there. They said what they said, and they moved along because they didn't get a response. And I stood there, and I stood there with all my might, because I have a superpower. So I stood there with all my might, and I just, nothing specific, but I was like, oh, I just want something bad to happen to them. Yeah, nothing did. So, but what did happen was I learned something that day. I learned that I can't make bad things happen at will, which is probably a good thing. And I also learned that there was something inside of me, and we'll call it an instinct. And I kept, and still keep that instinct throughout my whole life. And I learned to really listen to those feelings, those senses. Sometimes they're irritating because, like I said, I'll feel my clothes and they're irritating, or they feel good. I will try 5 different shirts and I love every one of them until I find the right one. I picked this out yesterday. So with that, those feelings, I started to realize that other people weren't like that. That they didn't necessarily feel the same things in the way that I felt them. So this superpower that I thought that I had was questionable because it often made me pull back. Because I totally fit in with everybody. I looked the same as everybody else. I can hold a conversation. I like to play at the park. But something was always different. So I learned that I like to engage, and I'm the most extroverted person you'll ever meet until probably when I go home. I'll turn my phone off, and you can call me 15 times, and I don't care. And so I learned that I like to be around people, but I kind of don't. So I would join club sports. Club sports are awesome. Because here's the thing, here's the difference between a club sport and a team sport, right? In a team sport, you have team meetings and everybody gets together and you do the things and you do the team building and we all go out for dinner together and we play together and we practice together and we high-five each other and all those fun things. That high five hurts when you have all these sensitive senses, right? So I don't really want to, that's a little too much for me. Let's go have fun. I'll be over here. And I'm okay with that because that was almost too much participation. So what I discovered was club sports are amazing because you're part of the same entity, right? You're part of a club. We all have that same, whatever it is, that sport. So for me, it was figure skating. I was in a figure skating club and we practice on the same ice, but you're over there and you're doing that, and I'm over here and I'm doing that, and we're all here together. And if we want to meet at the boards and do a little, water cooler thing, we can, but we don't have to, and I don't have to, and I'm not pressured to at all, because it's a club sport. So you're all together, but you are your own entity. When I would go out and compete or test, I did that on my own. It was up to me. So if I trip and toe pick, that's my fault. So it also, it in the practicing of the figure skating, or now mountain biking, because figure skating's a lot of work. So it's a lot. So now I mountain bike, which gives me the same thing, because I can go out on the trails and I can mountain bike and do the things, and I can be with people, but they're on their bike and I'm on my bike, right? So we're together with, you're doing good, yeah, you're doing great, okay, yeah, let's go. Bye. I'll meet you at the bottom. And we'll do it together. But I'm doing it on my own. And I found that was awesome. So I learned at a very young age, because I have the superpower, right? And all these feelings, even though you're skating over there, or you're on your bike behind me, I feel you. I know you're there. I can feel all of you in the audience. I can't necessarily see you, but I feel you. When I walk in a crowd, I can hear every single conversation that's going on, and it's hard to focus sometimes. So when I grocery shop, I wear headphones. And I do that because I can still hear you. If you come up to me and say, hey, can you reach that thing on the top shelf? No, I can't, I'm short, but I'll try. And I can hear you, but I'll have music going on that I'm kind of listening to, and I have my shopping list, but I can still engage with everybody if I choose to. Because isolating myself helps keep me comfortable. It helps keep me in tune with the world without being so in tune that I hear everything and I feel everything. And now my clothes are itchy, and now I'm a little uncomfortable. So I self-isolate in public ways, much like figure skating club sports, much like mountain biking, much like what I'm doing right now. I see all of you. I know you're all here, but I'm over here by myself. And I'm okay with that, and I love that, and it's a positive thing for me. And my mother is actually, we're going to have a positive talk about mothers. My mother was actually a positive influence in this, which is weird, because at the time, she so wasn't. She so wasn't. This woman, as far as I was concerned in my teen years, this was so detrimental. I was like, you are the Wicked Witch of the West. You know, the one that goes riding by after the tornado? There she goes on her little bike. Witch. Because what she would do, as every teenager does, right? So we're in teenage life and we're doing all the things. We're doing all the things. I'm figure skating. I'm a competitive figure skater, and I'm doing that. And I'm doing that at the after school choir, or the before school jazz band, or the, all the things. Put something in every minute of your life, because you got to keep busy, right? We do this because it's cool to be busy. It's overwhelming. So I did all of this, and my mom would see that I'm burning the candle at both ends, and she could just see that my whole world was just spinning. I couldn't see it. I'm in it. This is fun. And for some reason, there we are on Friday night. I'm getting ready to go out, right? My hair's done, and I got the thing on that I probably should not be wearing. And she would come in, and she would see that I'm like kind of sweating, and maybe, I'm looking for all the things all the time, and there's no sense of calm at all. And she would actually go, she would say something, we would get into something, because teenage girls are like fly off the handle like that. So she would actually almost create a fight. And then, of course, I'm in this hyper state of my world is everything, and the next thing you know, I'm grounded. I'm going to die right now. You just ruined my whole life. My whole world is going to end. How am I ever going to keep up? I can't. You can't ground me. I'm losing my senses. All those senses that I told you I can feel, they're like fireworks. They're firecrackers. My soul is burning. I kind of want to hit my mom, but that's wrong. And I probably had some kind of teenage fit. lost my you-know-what, probably called her something mean. No, I really didn't. She's scary. But I would lose it, and then that's it. Bang, into your room. The 4 walls of safety. Now what am I going to do? My whole world is ending. I'm inside. I'm bursting. So I'd pace back and forth. All of a sudden, the stereo goes on as loud as I can do it, right? Because it drowns out some of the anger. But yet the calm would then come. And I would sit in my room and dance or stretch. Reading was never my thing. It was too slow. And then you get into writing something, and back then we didn't have like all this tech stuff. So if you wanted to learn the lyrics to a song, you had to sit down and write them out. So I did that, or, and after, I don't know how long, the calm would kind of set in. And I would realize that here I am in the calm of me again. And I can be alone, and I can be calm, and the music quiets the calm. It like quiets the noise. And I would come out of my room, and I'd be like, hey, Mom, what's up? Kind of awkward, right? Because I don't want to fight with her. And everything would be good. We would watch TV or do the things, and everything was fine. And she told me this story later, and here's why she did it. Moms always know, right? So, as a young child, my superpower, ADHD. It makes so much sense. I don't know if anybody has ADHD, but I'll tell you what, those feelings, like I'm not kidding, you can put on a shirt and it doesn't feel right, and the day doesn't feel right, and the noise is too much, and everything's overwhelming. But when we pull back, and I say we as a community, right? When we pull back and there's quiet, the isolation is calming. And I actually can bring myself back to self. And if I don't isolate sometimes, that tornado is me. I need that because I become too overwhelmed. And I can't connect with people if I'm overwhelmed. So I isolate to find calm. And I've learned that that's okay. And I've learned actually even how to ask for that and say, love ya, get out. I need some time. And I will go and I will bike ride and I will do those club sports too. Or even, sometimes I can compromise and you can come with me biking, but don't talk. Don't talk. Actually, look at the tree over there. You should go see it. I'm going to break over here. And it's okay. So there's a positive light to isolation or being alone. The positive comes when you realize that that time alone doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can actually be rejuvenating. It can actually be regenerating. And it can be something that is only for you. That as our fellow speaker said, fill your bucket, right? Because it is so true. Without your cup, your bucket, your bag, your whatever it is that you carry in your soul, whatever that is, without it being full, you can't give. And so if I don't isolate and I don't find that calm, I can't connect. And lo and behold, if you want to ask some questions later, there's a man here, he's wearing black and white plaid. Ask him what happens if I don't isolate. He's got stories. So I wanted to come up here today, and because we have, like, just the word isolation in itself, you kind of have a negative. You're like, oh, isolation, that's negative. You're alone, you're by yourself, you're sad, there's something bad. Let's create a new neural pathway when we hear that word, especially that that thing that we all went through for 2 years that really brought a bit of a real downer to isolation or self-time, because we had to do it for 365,000 million years. So maybe, just maybe, the next time you find yourself in that moment where you're alone, or you're by yourself and you're bored, or you have nothing to do, or somebody hurt your feelings, or whatever, however you ended up in that moment of isolation, take a breath. And maybe, just maybe, the universe put you there so that you can have a moment of reflection, so you can fill up yourself. So your heart, which is the first organ to ever develop, by the way, can be full, right? So maybe when we all go home tonight, take a moment in your walk-in closet, in your car, in your front yard, and purposely isolate yourself in a calm way, that at the end of it you take a breath and you go, that wasn't so bad. That just wasn't so bad. Thank you.